Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing super fantastic. And I had, I recently did a video, and it was a little negative. It wasn't intended to be, but I was talking about the negative influences in our realm and in this world, this experience that we are in, and who's in charge, why they're causing the negative influences to keep humanity in low vibrational states, how they do it, why, things like that. And I was explaining how it's not beneficial to us in the spiritual awakening community or the esoteric love and light crowd, whatever you want to call us. It's not beneficial to us to ignore that reality. Obviously, we don't play into it. I'm not saying that you should feed your energy to it, because when you feed your attention to it, you're feeding your energy to it. However, to completely ignore it and act as if it doesn't exist is allowing it a backdoor. And that's really the only point I was getting at with that. But it's like all this fear-based narrative stuff, a lot of it comes from, oddly enough, religion. Now, I've said before, I had an experience, I had a very profound experience. I can't say that I was out of body. I can't say that I was near death. I don't exactly know. I believe I was out of body and having a near death experience, right? But I couldn't prove it to you. But it was my experience. That's what I know. And I came out of that experience with more than faith. I understood what gnosis means. You see, there's faith where you have a strong belief in something. That's faith. It's like, I strongly believe in this. But gnosis is when you know. It's a knowing, it's an absolute certainty. You see, faith is something that you're like, I'm going to put my belief in this, although I have no true real proof. I have nothing proving why I believe what I do. I just do. But gnosis is when you know. Obviously, I just said that. But the experience that I had, I guess, induced a gnosis in me. It transferred me from having faith. Now, actually, at the time, I didn't have any faith, but at the time, I would have told you I believed in God, but yeah, I was an addict in recovery at the time, so I didn't have time for anything like that. But I had that experience, and I had been sober up until that point, by the way, briefly, but that's not really the point. So after I came out of that experience, and the memory came back to me, I realized that I was conscious. I realized I was awake in that state, and that I was in what they call the black. And at first, I described it as the void. I would tell people, well, I feel like I was out in the void, but it wasn't really. It was not void though. It wasn't. It was the quantum field, which is unmanifested energy or wave function. I'm not going to get too scientific here, dear loved one, please understand. But it was wave function, meaning it is energy. It is, well, quantum particles, so for lack of a better term. But it's not become anything yet. It hasn't been used yet, right? It's like it's material that hasn't been manifested into something yet. That would be kind of like what we would consider to be the quantum field, or it's leftover from the creation. However you want to look at it, it doesn't matter. Point is it was the quantum field, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was really nothing. I had no form, right? It was just black, and there was no distance, there was no time, no space, no distance, right? there was no concept of time. There was no concept of distance. It's just I was formless, and I was just, as I've said before, I was just in the state of I am. And that's when I had this realization, when all this kind of came back to me. I was like, well, that's what universal consciousness or source or God means when it says I am. And that's really all anything is. It's the source consciousness realizing it. I am. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, I don't know. I just know that I am. I exist. I have a identity. I have a personality. I am here. Where's here? Well, it's not really a place, but I am. And it's hard for us in this 3D linear realm to comprehend that, because we use our five senses, right? We use our five senses. We have time as a measurement. We have space. We have distance. We have all of these that as just physical things. But if you strip all that away, if you strip away your five senses, you strip away time, you strip away distance, you strip away just place, what are you left with? Right? What do you have left? Now, I know materialists would be like, we got nothing. It's like true. But you still have mind. You're still, it's like, yeah, but I still here, but yet here I am. I've taken all that away. And yet here I am. That is the I am state. That is the quantum state. That is, it's beautiful. And when I had that realization, I'm like, wow, God exists. It's real. We exist in its mind. All there is mind. And the only way I can describe to you what I mean when I say mind is strip away those five senses, strip away time, space, and distance. What you're left with is just mind, just a pure state of being. And that's what I experienced. And I came out of that experience with more than faith. And I realized that source consciousness, universal consciousness is what I typically call it. Some people like to call it the source. Some people call it God. I call it universal consciousness, typically. But it is mind, and it is just from our perspective, it is radiating light, just light. Light to the point where there is no darkness. It's just pure light. Light to the point where there is no shadow. Pure penetrating light. And it's emanating. And we are part of that. We are part of that light, that emanation. And I realized there's nothing to fear. Right? So when I talk about, I'm coming back around to what I started with. But when I talk about the archons and the ruling class, the elite ruling class, and how they have hijacked this world and cause us divine sparks who are here to feel trapped or to feel just completely asleep and not having our awakening, to think that this is all there is, that this physical realm is all there is. But that's not it. There's really nothing to fear. So I say that because there's so much negativity in the world. it is hard to ignore. I said we should ignore it. We should not necessarily ignore it. We can't ignore. I didn't say we can ignore it. I said we can't ignore it, but we can't feed our energy to it either. So it's definitely a balancing act on your part. How do you not ignore it, but not feed it attention either? Right? It's more like acknowledge it. Yeah, that's going on. That happens. But I'm going to focus my attention over here on this. You see, I don't think that God is anything to fear because it's pure light emanating. Anything that comes from that is good. Anything that is good should not be feared. But I want to step in it with the religion is if I keep on that keep on with that. But anyway, dear loved one, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there that we are emanating from the source and there's nothing to fear because of that. If anything else, we just return to the source. But with all the negativity going on in the world, and there is a lot, it's hard to ignore. With all the negativity going on in the world, I look at it and I think, well, the way things are going, the direction it's going, where it's headed to, is not sustainable. But what you need to understand, dear loved one, is that's by design. Now, the powers that be are trying to drive this world into a state where, well, I mean, you can get into the whole New World Order stuff, but it's not sustainable. It won't be sustainable that way. What I mean by that is there is a breaking point. Now, if you live strictly in a materialist, physical frame of reference, then that's scary. That's very scary because it's like, well, so what you're saying is the world's going to end? No, the world won't end. There may be resets because I believe there are systemic resets. There are resets that are, for lack of a better term, scheduled. There are times throughout the past that, for floods and, with floods and just various times. And it does appear to be scheduled. I mean, I'm not going to get it too much into it, but if you look at the Archaics channel, Jason Brashears, he has put it on a timeline. He has looked at the various calendars and the histories and chronologies and came up with timelines where you can predict resets, cataclysms, if you want to go there. But you see, those that live strictly in the physical, where they live in fear and they look at the world, and that is a scary prospect. But to those of us who are having our awakening, who have maybe lived many, many sims, many, many lifetimes when we were asleep at the wheel, or maybe we started to awaken, but then we fell off, or whatever. But for those of us who are awakening, this is an exciting time. Because I believe that these reset events are times when the ones who it's time for them to get out of here, that's when it's, I guess, safe to extract them. There have been times when populations were just disappeared. The Children's Crusades being one. What happened to the Mayans being another one. Some people say they ascended, that they didn't go anywhere. They just ascended up into a different vibrational range of perception. You know, if we perceive 10 to 20, they may be on the 20 to 30 level now. And they're right there in front of us. We just can't perceive them anymore. Maybe. Or maybe there was a reset event and they had gotten to the point where they were ready to be extracted out of this Earth sim and move on to something else. That's very possible. And if you think that sounds a little woo-woo, a little crazy, I mean, this ain't for everybody. But, yeah. Anyway, dear loved one. Yeah, I hear so many people, so much fear talked about in the media, talked about in just people around me. Fear of what's going on in the world. You know, all the immorality, things like that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's the pace at which it's going is very fast, and where it's going is not sustainable. Things are going in a certain direction very fast, and it's accelerating. If you had gone back 10 years from now, like this being 2025, if you 2020 in 2015, if you could peer into the future and look at 2025 and see the state of the world, you wouldn't believe it. You really would not believe it. Imagine 2035 if things keep at the rate they're going now. And I think we will see a 2035. This reset, that event that I'm talking about, I don't think it's that quick. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. 2030 and all these, 2027, something big's supposed to happen. Depends upon who you talk to. Some people say 2026, some people say 2027. There's others that say 2030. Jason Brashears talks about 2040 and 2046. Just depends who you talk to. And in his case, it depends where you live. North America, 2046. You don't want to be in North America in 2046. Right. So, 2040, you don't want to be on the you don't want to be on the coasts in 2040. Just saying. That's the Archaics research, and it's pretty profound too, by the way. I mean, it's hard to argue with. In fact, I don't recommend you argue with it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just turn away from it. Just let it go. But that's true for anything. So, anyway, dear loved one, yes, I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I said some things that's like, well, geez, dude. So you're saying that the world is evil and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm like, well, yeah, kind of. But you don't need to do anything about it. This world is going to be just fine the way it is. Is it going to hell in a handbasket? Yes, and that's fine. And I know most people are like, what do you mean? That's fine. It's not okay. It is okay. Because when it reaches its breaking point, and it will, something's going to happen. That's one thing I think almost everybody can agree on. Something is about to happen. Something is going to happen. What is it? Is it going to be a cataclysm? Is it going to be a flood? Is it going to be a rapture? Right? Something. And for those of us who have awakened and have connected with our higher self, connected with the source, who realize we are divine sparks from that universal source. We are the universal source, having this experience from multiple perspectives. We got nothing to worry about. It's going to be an adventure, actually. So anyway, dear loved ones, I'm at the 20-minute mark here. I'm going to have to wrap this up. But yes, that's what I got for you. Please, if you have not yet hit the like button, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do that as well. And share this video with somebody you think may need to hear it. I would really appreciate that. But also, I'll go ahead and solicit comments. That's fine. What are your thoughts? What do you think? What do you think of the breaking point? Really, I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think at the direction the world is going and the pace at which it's going in that direction? Can it continue indefinitely? Can it continue at the rate it's going, at the direction it's going and at the pace it's going? Can it continue that indefinitely? Or do you believe there will be a breaking point? Or are there reset points programmed in to make sure nothing crazy happens? That's what I think. I think there are resets programmed in because these things just are cyclical. These things happen. And before it hits that breaking point, there's a reset. So anyway, that's what I got for you, dear loved ones. And yeah, I love you. I promise you, I truly do. And I'll be back directly.